3, 2, 1. You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. We are the Real Pineapple. This is Hunter. I'm here with the Pride of Ireland. I'm here with Colin. Colin, how are you, sir?
What up, man? I'm doing good. How you doing, bud?
I'm really good, man. By the way, we've been off for the last couple weeks because Christmas, New Year's, and don't worry, we've got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline here as far as reviews. But Colin was in town here last week. Was it last week? Was it?
Yeah. Yep.
God,
just last Thursday or something like that.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I get to see Colin again in April because Avengers Endgame. But
Hell yeah.
Dude, it was just great to see you and shoot the shit, and it's always great to see
and
you.
when we did all that other stuff that we won't mention on camera.
Yeah, exactly. That fun stuff. Hopefully Nikki or Leia never listens to it, but
it won't happen.
yeah, I know. Leia will listen to this. Love you, but while you were here, we did almost a mini review, and I wish we would have had a microphone going. So we're talking about Aquaman tonight, or Aquabro as he's being called by many reviewers. What I find interesting about this movie is that so it's already like at $900 million. It's gonna make $1 billion. And to be totally honest with you, I was on the and I'm gonna give them a free plug here, the KJ and OJ podcast. We have OJ on we had it on quite recently to go and help us out with some reviews. And so I was on their podcast reviewing Aquabro, and I had a lot to say about Aquabro. And to be honest, I feel like I said a lot about Aquaman, and my big conclusion was it's not like I've read people saying that it's in their top 10 films of the year, and the only way it should be in your top 10 films is if you woke up from a coma on December 29th and you could only watch 10 movies until the end of the year. That's the only fucking reason why Aquaman should be in your top 10. So I hate that I'm even draw attention to this girl, but Grace Randolph, she's a film critic. She's on YouTube and stuff, and she had just to put in perspective how insanely inaccurate and dumb and stupid her fucking list is, she had her worst of list in her top 5. She had Solo for her worst film, one of her worst films, which is insane. Solo, it probably won't crack my top 10, but it's one of the best. It's a really fun film. So the fact she had it in her top 5 worst of, I went, you're stupid. And she had Infinity War at her number 10 best of, and she had Aquaman at number 3, and talked about how Aquaman's world building is better than what Infinity War did, which again,
what was her number 2 and 1?
Her 1 was Black Panther, which fine, and then her number 2 was Fallout, Mission Impossible, Fallout.
Okay, I mean I don't hate those two, but okay, we'll get into it. But this lady's clearly crazy.
Exactly. So let me just say this, and this is a rant I went on the KJ and OJ podcast. I'm gonna go on the same rant here. So I got out of the theater. I saw it opening night, right, with my coworker Dalton, OJ, KJ, and then KJ's siblings, right. So we see it opening night. Go see it in DFX. So not IMAX, but it's bigger than a larger screen, right. So there's this guy sitting next to me, and I'm blanking on the dude's name. He was a really cool dude, but he had the most hilarious reaction once the movie was over. He got up, stood up, and went, well, at least Amber Heard was wet, and walked away. And I remember thinking,
oh my God.
And I remember just laughing, going, yeah, he's not entirely wrong, though. And the thing about Aquaman is that, so when I get out of the theater, so I'm not OJ gave me permission to share his rating. He's not with us, unfortunately, but I'll share his rating at the end. So OJ felt the way he did about it. I get out of the theater, and we're sitting outside, kind of, chilling. And OJ asked me, he's like, what'd you think of it? I was like, I thought it was okay. And the first thing KJ's sister goes is, oh my God, you're such a Marvel nerd. Here's what I'm going to say. I have tried so goddamn hard to talk to DC fans about the fact that, hey, maybe you should expect more from your films. Maybe you shouldn't be content with fucking table scraps. Maybe you should expect your films to be, I don't know, good maybe? And one thing I will say too, I like Justice League quite a bit. I think I gave the highest grade out of the three of us. I gave it a B if memory serves. I gave Wonder Woman a fan-fucking-tastic. Man of Steel, I've softened on a little bit. I believe originally, it's been a while since we reviewed it, but I think I gave it a C+ originally. I'd probably stick by a C+ or maybe go up to a B-. I think Man of Steel's a pretty good film. It's got some fucking problems, especially the third act. But
I think you're forgetting how much you hate Zack Snyder.
But no, I'm not. Trust me.
While you're bumping these up, if you rewatch them, there'd be so many slow motions. And you're like, nope, dropping it a grade.
No. We haven't gotten to Aquaman review yet. But Suicide Squad is one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life. And I remember just wanting to pull my fucking hair out while sitting there watching it. And Batman vs Superman, don't even get me started on how Zack Snyder just fucking whiffled on that fucking movie. It's mind-boggling to me how DC fans will go, BVS is great, Suicide Squad is great, and trust me, the Suicide Squad fans out there fucking exist, because I've talked to people at work and people online who've gone like, yep, Suicide Squad is great. Here's what I'm going to say about DC fans. I'm done arguing with you, because you're clearly blind. You're like one of the you're so blind to the fact that these films, most of them, are just bad. It's like you're fucking doing the Bird Box challenge. You're just fucking blind and blindfolded to the fact that DC cannot be consistent with their shit. And I'm done arguing with you guys about, you just like Marvel movies. If a Marvel movie's bad, I'll say a Marvel movie's bad. But the thing is, for the most part, Marvel has had hit after hit after hit. And I know that pisses you off because you want to catch up to Marvel so quick and not do the fucking groundwork. Which is why you rush out a Justice League movie 4 fucking movies into your universe, but whatever, apparently. With that said, this is okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just okay. But if you have this in your top 10 best of, I go back to my prior joke earlier. You clearly woke up from a coma and you only had a chance to watch 10 movies because this doesn't belong in anyone's top 10 best of. Anywhere. And if you have this in your worst stuff, I'm going to be honest, you haven't watched enough bad film this year. Because I can think of at least 10 films that are worse than this. But, yeah, I just thought it was okay. I just kind of looked there and I went, kind of your thoughts, sir, going in and everything.
Yeah, going into it, so we got to see Aquaman one time before this in Justice League. I thought he was pretty cool in Justice League.
I did too.
I liked, Jason Momoa. I thought he was actually pretty badass. He was making me think Aquaman was at least a character that could play out in an entire film. So I was half interested, and then seeing the trailers. This thing is just, you just get an idea of how over the top this movie is going to be already in the trailers. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, and certainly if you are already kind of DC biased, sure, you're going to give it the benefit of the doubt and be like, well, I just want it to be, I'm just going to roll with all the punches of how ridiculous and over the top this story and everything is. If you're going in with that mindset, maybe you're going to like this film more. For me, not my cup of tea. If I see the most CGI I've ever seen in a movie ever, it's pretty much just gonna make me be bored and not like it for most of the movie, because these scenes are just littered with CGI craziness, and it's just colors flashing and nothing means anything because it's all just like, you know, irrelevant, like seahorses fighting crabs and shit. But like, but yeah, so I mean, going into it, like, I still like Jason Momoa. It, like, you know, it does the background story real quick for you, giving you, what's her name? Nicole Kidman playing his mom.
Yeah.
Like, you know, having sex with the lighthouse keeper, having the baby, and then like laser sharks show up, obviously, as they do. And they break through the walls, and Nicole Kidman kicks all their asses. And then she's like, I must return to the sea. And then I was sitting in the theater, and I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't looking for the big over the top movie. I don't think. What were your thoughts about how they kind of went that way with the movie?
So here's the thing. I thought there were points. So let's kind of get into the plot real quick, because it's a pretty simple plot. So Atlanta, who's played by Nicole Kidman, Aquaman's mom, Arthur Curry. She is she's Queen of Atlantis. She ends up being basically exiled. She's on the run, and she basically goes ahead and gets rescued by Arthur Curry's father, whose name I'm completely blanking on. But he gets saved. He gets saved by her, which, I'll be honest, led to a pretty derb moment where she, you know, wakes up and she's been stabbed, and so he's taking care of her, and she sees a fish in a fish tank, and I was like, don't do it. I'm like, please don't. And of course, you know, oh, there's a fish. Oh, I gotta eat it. Ha 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 ha. It's just like, oh, okay. This is like dumb, but whatever. Tom Curry, pardon me. So I will say, I thought the first 10-ish minutes or so, kind of establishing their love, I went, this is cute. Like, I mean, it's no Up, but I mean, I was like, this is kind of sweet, you know. So, Atlanta, she basically warriors from Atlantis come up and go, hey, you ran away from getting married. Get your ass back in the water.
They look ridiculous, by the way.
So I will say, their armor looks like concept art from like the first Halo, to be totally like,
it looks like
real...
the really bad cosplay version of something else that's better.
Damn.
That was my interpretation of it.
That's fair.
It was like clunky. They're like walking like toddlers because they can't move their elbows too much. I was like, oh man, this looks ridiculous.
You know what's funny is Willem Dafoe's in this, and his Green Goblin costume, he was able to move way better than that. I was like, all right, you should have taken a cue from Sony there. So she goes back in the water, and so Tom's left to raise Arthur Curry by himself, which, I will be honest, I went that beat. I went, you know what? Okay, here's a big issue with young Arthur, and they breeze through, like ocean breeze. They breeze through his origin.
Good one.
Thank you. Dude, better than a lot of the jokes in the movie, to be fair. And you know I'm not wrong, but they go through young Arthur's origin really quickly. So he's in an aquarium, and so there's all there's fishes, there's fishes and everything, and so the thing that made me laugh, because I know how we've done this for a while. I know how you kind of like look for certain things. There's a great white shark in this tank. I went, no. There's no aquarium in the world where I was like, oh yeah, great white shark is just chilling. Not eating,
with a bunch of other fish that he's like, it's cool, I won't eat you. I normally would, but we're in a tank, so it's chill.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't know we were watching Finding Dory. That's really fucking cool. But this shark, yeah, giant shark, white shark, great white shark. And so he's out on a class field trip, and so the kids, these two, atypical boys come up to him and go like, oh, what are you doing? The fish are talking to you, and wink, and they pin him against the glass. And so in one of the most ridiculous CG moments I've seen all year, the shark hits the glass, and the shark looks like shit, by the way. Like the way the shark moves, I went, sharks don't move like that. I went, this is very weird. So all the fish, of course, come up to the glass, and you see Arthur put his hand up, and the thing that made me laugh, and this is something I will give Zack Snyder credit for. So you remember in Man of Steel when the bus crashes and goes into the water, and Clark of course lifts the bus up, saves all the kids, and you see him in the principal's office, like, I saw what he did and da-da-da. There is no repercussion for the fact that he's talking to fucking fish. Like, the class is looking at him like, what the fuck is happening? And his eyes glow a different color. Nothing at all. I just went, all right, cool, I guess. So it's just like, all right, fine.
What's like the next scene after that? Isn't he just like grown up? It's that scene, and then he's grown up.
Yep, that was it.
Don't worry about the middle part.
Yeah, don't worry about the the giant ramifications that should have happened after him talking to fish in front of everyone and witnesses. But
that scene's just like straight out of Harry Potter too. That was the other funny part about it. I was just like, oh yeah, this is just him learning he can speak to snakes.
It's funny when you before you brought that up, I didn't even think about that. I went, yeah, that is actually Harry Potter, like to a T. I went, that's fair.
They're like, let's do the scene from Harry Potter real quick, and then he'll just be grown up.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So the next scene is him. And I'm gonna butcher your name. I'm sorry. Yaha, dude, I can't say it. Okay, so I'm just gonna say.
I mean, I'm not gonna try and say it.
Yeah, dude, I'm just gonna pull a Sandlot. I'm just gonna say Yahya. So Yahya Abdul Mateen the second. Good.
Well,
God.
it's the initials is YAM, so just call him Yam too.
Yeah, there we go. Yam. Oh man, I love some Yam. So yeah, Yam. So Yam 2.
Yeah, good old Yammy.
Yeah, good old Yam 2. He's I know. I feel like such a dick. I can't say his name. It's like Yam. Why not?
Well, but we got his initials. It's cool.
Yeah, there you go. But he and his dad actually, they're in the submarine. They're pirates, and they're basically. I don't even remember if they say what that he's there to steal. To be totally honest, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I don't recall. I think he just goes there because why not?
Dude, this guy was ridiculous. I'm just now remembering this guy. Everything he was saying, he was like screaming, like the most testosterone filled, like veins popping out of his neck. That dude was hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's when they went so over the top on every aspect of this movie. Man, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead. I just like now remembered this guy. This guy is so ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you're good. So here's the thing. He goes ahead and gets into a fight with Aquaman, and so he boards the submarine. Which if there is any line in this movie that tells you exactly how it's going to be, when Momoa comes on the submarine, goes permission to come aboard, and goes like you hit the guitar riff, I went, all right.
I thought that was kind of badass.
I laughed, but I rolled at the same time. I went, all right, fine. So
that's the first time you see Jason Momoa too, right?
Correct.
Like that's his opening line for the movie.
Correct. Yeah.
Man, see that's the parts where like some people really like this movie. I can see like if you're really just feeding off of Jason Momoa, because I kind of like him.
So the thing is, and I've said this in a couple reviews, charisma covers a lot of sins, and I don't think Jason Momoa is a very strong actor.
Yeah,
but he does have screen presence though, and he's a charismatic dude.
I keep thinking he's that WWE wrestler guy.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Roman Reigns. I keep thinking he's Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and honestly, Roman Reigns probably actually would have been a better choice than Momoa. Honestly, I mean, but so you get a fight between Momoa and the guy who will become Black Manta. One thing I did actually appreciate is that Black Manta, his dad, he gets trapped under I want to say it's like a not like a shelf, but it's like a missile. I think he gets trapped under, if memory serves.
Yeah, like one of the torpedoes down there, I think.
Yeah, and he goes like, "Help me, he's gonna die." And he goes, just something like, like let the sea be his judgment or something. Like it's something like that. Something about the sea, and he just leaves his black acid.
Yeah, he's just like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
like I kind of like that about him too. I'm just like, oh, he's definitely not Batman. Like he doesn't give a shit about these guys.
Yeah, you're like, whatever, sucks to be
Yeah,
you.
he kind of establishes him as a little bit more of a bad boy, which I don't hate.
Oh god, Jason Momoa is such a bad boy.
Oh god, but why does he make me feel so good?
I know. But he's just bad enough that you think you can change him.
Yeah.
So of course that's gonna come back later on in the movie, and so basically the movie is it's Momoa being approached by Mara, who's played by Amber Heard, who I will get to in a second, who basically comes and says, "Hey, your brother Ocean Master, who's playing." Sorry,
I laughed out loud when he said that.
I'm sorry, Ocean.
When they first said his name, I laughed out loud, 100%.
Oh my god! Oh, it makes me so happy. But all right, Ocean Master.
We doing this? It reminded me.
Yeah,
of like,
no, I know. I'm trying.
It reminded me of Taserface from Guardians 2.
Yeah, dude. Yes.
I was like, we need Rocket here to start trolling him afterwards. I was like, damn it, this is too good.
What made me laugh though, come on. I mean, there's so much silly shit in comics. I get it, but the thing is, they could have had someone maybe allude to him being Ocean Master, but he flat out comes out and says, "Don't call me that. Call me Ocean Master." I was like,
it was so funny. He was like about to say something so cool, and then he said Ocean Master, and I like almost, if I would have been drinking something, I would have spit it out.
So I was drinking part of my strawberry daiquiri, and I started choking. I was laughing so hard. The guy next to me was like, "Are you okay, man?" I was like, "I think I will be." But,
that just immediately dropped at a grade for me. I was like, are you kidding me? This is so stupid. I mean, I feel like some people might argue like it's supposed to be self-aware. Like James Wan was like trying to make it over the top and silly and not take itself seriously just so he could do whatever he wanted to do. But I just don't feel like it translates into like something that I'm supposed to call good.
Yeah. I mean, so oh, you cut out there one more time, sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I don't know how, what was I saying?
You're that he was talking. He meant to make it silly. There you go.
Yeah. It's, I mean, if you're in for that ride, like, I get it. It was way too over the top for me, and that's just one of those moments where, either you loved it or you're like me and laughed at it and rolled your eyes. It's ridiculous.
And can I go back real quick to the submarine? Can we talk about the fact that, I mean, if we're just going from a physics point of view, you cannot be shooting a fucking gun in a goddamn submarine. Can we just point that out too? Because that was something I went, that's like bad, right? But
yeah.
But whatever, But so Mara ends up coming up from Atlantis and says, "Hey, your brother, OM is what I'm gonna call him. He's got the throne. He's gonna bring a war to the surface world. You need to go ahead and stop him." That's the shorthand version. And what I will say is that there's a scene with Momoa and his dad, where the water comes up and they're driving a truck. That scene actually worked for me, because it wipes out the truck. I went, "Holy shit, that would suck." I mean.
And the chick comes out of nowhere and kind of saves him. Yeah,
and by the way, that's another thing. So if I'm gonna give Marvel shit for it, because I give Marvel shit for Scarlet Witch. It's like, what can she do? Whatever the plot says.
Yeah, that's right.
She just kind of has her powers and
right. It's not established. We're making it up as we go along. And also, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. And look at Elizabeth Olsen. She's hot, right? That's basically. Yeah, they don't establish her power set. Same thing here with Mara. They're just she can water bend, kinda, but she can also pull water out of wine too, which doesn't make any sense. It's all right, they didn't give a shit with her. But so Aquaman goes back to Atlantis. He fights his brother, but then he has to get a trident, so it turns into Little Mermaid for a bit, so that he can go ahead and be like the king of Atlantis. So here's the thing. This movie's insane, and I cannot stress enough how fucking insane this movie is. And some of the CG, holy shit. So there's some CG, when you first go ahead and see Atlantis, like the intro to it, I went, oh, this actually looks pretty cool. But then later on in the movie, there's giant crabs, and none of them are named Mister. You see sharks with laser beams, sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads. It goes all over the place. And I get that a lot of people will argue, James Wan's having fun. But when you're just going against your own consistencies, I go, yeah, that's not fun. That's just you not really needing anything. You're not making sense. By the way, if you can breathe underwater, why the fuck do you need underwater ships? Like, that was just something I went, that makes no sense. And you see them swimming, they're swimming like insanely fast, like to the point you shouldn't need a ship. I just went, why do you need a ship then? It doesn't really, like, all right, like it doesn't make any sense. And there's just so many inconsistencies, like the fact that Orm, aka OM, that the last fight scene takes place on a boat, right? So my first thought was, if he can breathe on land, then why does he need Black Manta later on to go ahead and kill Aquaman? It doesn't, like, shit like that. I just went, all right, this doesn't make sense the more I think about it. And I will say, when you do get Black Manta, there's a fight scene in, I want to say they're in Italy, if memory serves.
Something like that, yeah.
And dude, okay, so critics have made the joke about DC not caring about, civilian damage. They could not have given less of a fuck about civilian damage in here, because they fuck up this village in a way I went, wow, that is really depressing. Like, the only thing missing was an old man going to his little cottage and going like, I finally paid this off. Black Manta, boom, laser beam. Like, oh, like it. They destroyed the shit out of this village. I went, wow, that's really quite sad, actually. And the movie's like, oh, whatever. And so, I will say, though, that fight scene in particular is like, it's a big chase scene, And I thought that scene actually worked really well. And you get some Black Manta hand-to-hand combat with him and Aquaman that I thought really worked. The biggest problem I have with this movie, outside the CG, is I felt like there was no chemistry between Amber Heard and Jason Momoa. I didn't feel it at all. And I thought there was more chemistry between Tom Hardy playing Tom Hardy with the symbiote. I thought there was more chemistry there than between Amber Heard and Aquaman, or Mera and Aquaman. And that is a huge problem, because Nicole Kidman's Atlanta, she's not in it enough to be the central relationship between her and Arthur Curry. So you have to go by default to Aquaman and Mera. So, of course, when they get together at the end, which, they're the two prettiest people in the movie, why the fuck wouldn't they get together? And I'm going to reference one of your favorite movies. It reminded me of that Ridley Scott Robin Hood movie, where Robin Hood goes to Maid Marian and goes, I love you. I went, what? I went, wow! I'm like, you guys have barely fucking talked. And they're doing the whole Mera, like, she's cute, but she's feisty. They're doing that whole thing, and it just doesn't work. Kind of your thoughts on that relationship?
Yeah, they're, like, Mera's super hot.
Yeah, Amber Heard's fine.
Yeah, she has her, like, Little Mermaid, but, like, grown up and sexy outfit on, which is pretty awesome. But other than that, she was kind of not super great at acting during the movie. Yeah, they didn't have any chemistry. I never got anything out of that storyline. And this is kind of where really the grade for me starts forming as well. Because as this movie was progressing, there's the storyline of them just like trying to find the next thing that tells them to go somewhere else. And they just, keep going from place to place and getting into more zany hijinks. But like their chemistry together could have really helped this movie a lot more. I wasn't really feeling it the whole time. and just the way the movie just kind of chugs along from next scene to next scene. Like if they never even had the scene where they're like in the desert, like that'd been cool with me. Like that didn't need, like, it's 2 hours and 23 minutes. It totally dragged in the middle. It wasn't as fun.
Yes, it did.
Like there's like once all the wars start happening and like I don't know. I think I was like drifting in and out of like what was going on in this movie. But when like the bad king like just kills that other race's leader for no reason, like I didn't know what was going on there. And then there was just like, oh, that's how we start all the war. And I was like, oh, okay. Wait, what? Yeah, so all the war stuff starts happening while they're like looking for the trident to stop the war. And man, I don't know. I never really cared.
The thing about the movie is that I was intrigued by the whole. I mean, because this becomes like a romantic comedy. It becomes a national treasure, and then at the very end, it turns into a badass Little Mermaid movie.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, dude. I had more fun fighting Ursula in Kingdom Hearts than I did watching the third act of this movie. I just went, God damn! Like, so there is a hand, not a hand to hand, but there, yeah. I mean, there's like a trident kind of fight between Aquaman and OM. Like in the middle of the film, like the second act, it's like a 15-minute scene, and I went, okay, that was actually kind of enjoyable. I think my big problem is the last big fight is like 3 minutes, and I went, if you'd swap these, it actually would have made a lot more sense and it would have flowed better. So I know you haven't read it. So a lot of this is taken from Jeff Johns' New 52 run on Aquaman, which if you haven't read, is really quite fucking enjoyable. It's really damn good. But the problem is, obviously, if you have a comic, you have a lot more time, to flesh all these characters out and everything. And it just didn't have enough time. But to be honest, this movie felt long, even at and this is a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, I believe. 2 hours 22 minutes, and it still felt long, and it felt like it left a lot of shit just unanswered. My favorite part about this movie, outside of Black Manta, because I really enjoyed me some Black Manta, my favorite part about this movie, man, was fucking having another actually really good role. King Nereus, who's played by Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren has had this year where he's like, he's like, I'm having a career resurgence. I'm going to go all in on whatever I'm in. And Creed 2, he's fucking fantastic because it's Creed 2. And here he plays Mara's father. And I'll be honest, man, anytime Mara's interacting with her dad, I went, okay, this kind of works. Dolph Lundgren's not in it a lot. He's in it for maybe 10 minutes, honestly, if I'm being generous. But I thought he was quite a lot of fun. Willem Dafoe, man, dude, I love Willem Dafoe. I just we haven't reviewed it yet, but we'll have a review for at Eternity's Gate, the Van Gogh film. Dude, Dafoe was phoning it in like a motherfucker in this. He could not have given less of a crap about being Aquaman. He delivers this line when Aquaman comes back with the trident, and he goes, "The king has returned." And I went, oh, like I genuinely shuddered. I went, that line was delivered so flat, and just the fact James Wan was like, "Yep, it's fine, whatever, let's keep going." It was like, okay, that's like I don't know if you remember that line, but I genuinely.
Oh yeah, I do. It was like Lion King. I was just like, oh man, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it was quite bad. What I'll say, kind of in closing, before I throw it back to you, this is it. I think this movie is fun at points, but I think the second act really hurts this movie, and a lot of the CG. There's a lot of technical points. I still bring it up. Black Panther. It has those two CG rhinos that look really bad. Just imagine like a bunch of sea rhinos, basically, because some of the CG is just so damn bad. And this had a budget, like, I can't find anywhere where it confirms the budget, but the budget apparently was between $160 and $200 million. There is no reason why some of the shots in this movie should look as bad as they do. There's none. There's no fucking excuse. And before everyone goes like, well, not all the sheriffs are that bad. District 9 was made for like $50 million. So all those people were going to immediately go, no, you're being too hard on it. Shut the fuck up. Because District 9 looks wonderful. And Aquaman at points looks great. Do not misunderstand. But at points looks like absolute poo. Kind of throwing it back to you as far as like some others, if there's anything else you just weren't a fan of.
Yeah, I in general, I don't like the CGI, like being that big of a proponent of like, you know, the final act and like everything coming together with all the wars and everything. Like, I get lost in that stuff. It doesn't blow me away or excite me anymore. I want to see like real stunts being done at some point with like real human people. And there was some scenes like that. They threw that type of movie in here too. And James Wan did direct a lot of good scenes.
He did.
And he created a movie that is admittedly very epic in scale. You know, it's huge. It's just ridiculous. But I think intentionally so. But I mean, yeah, when it came to just the overwhelming CGI and big over the top kind of just everything coming together during the middle and end, you know, it's just, I don't know. That's not what I'm looking for in a popcorn flick. I need more substance than that, I think.
So I'll be honest, I saw a movie after a couple days after I saw Aquaman that I liked so much more, it actually made me bump the grade down from it. So, and we'll actually review that here in a little bit. In closing, I'll say, when Momoa does get the Aquaman, like the classic Aquaman costume, I thought that was translated about as fucking well as you could translate, because you have to have the classic costume in there.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with that as well.
Yeah, and they you know, they went ahead and they did similar to what they did with Wonder Woman's costume. They went ahead and modernized it as far as making it look more like armor, which works for this. But one thing I'm gonna say right now, and I know like some dudes be like, you're catering to the women. I'm really not when I say this. There is not a scene as far as action that is even close to as iconic as the airport scene in Civil War, the casino scene in Black Panther, the No Man's Land scene in Wonder Woman, or the overpass scene in Winter Soldier. There's nothing action-wise that's even in the realm of any of those other four films as far as action, and that hurts this movie. Because look, we get superhero films all the fucking time. You need to bring it when you make one of these, and to have someone as physical as Momoa, even that first submarine fight where it's mostly hand to hand, I went, oh man, this is really cool. It'd be awesome if I could fucking see what was happening, because the first half of it is shot so close I couldn't tell what was happening. I went, this is upsetting to me. So there's just stuff technically, there's stuff CGI wise, there's stuff pacing wise. I would keep finding stuff to like, and then I'd find something that would pull me out of the movie. And it's really frustrating as a critic to just go like, because I wanted to like this more. I really did, because look, and before anyone asks, like, is this as good as Black Panther? Fuck no. but I get, like, again, minority representation. It's so fucking important. So, you know, if and I'm sorry, I want to say Momoa's like Polynesian. I if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I think he is. But look, that's like, if you want to be Aquaman and you know, cosplay as him, dude, I would not blame you at all, because I think there was enough about this movie that you can enjoy. But if you're saying it's in like the upper echelon of comic book films, it's really not. Sorry, it's just not. It's a okay film with, I think, some really good parts. It's damn sure getting a sequel, because it's going to cross $1 billion probably this weekend. I can only hope that with the sequel, it gets a better budget and James Wan maybe tightens things up a little bit, because I think this is a fun movie at points, but it goes into just, you know, slapstick at points where I went, all right, guys, we need to reel this back a little bit. I've been going back and forth all day on my grade, so I think, thinking about it, I think I got to give this, you know what, I'm gonna give it a C+, because I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, I I gave Venom a C plus, and I'm actually gonna retract my my review on Venom, because I gave Venom a C plus. I liked Venom more than this. I actually liked it way more than this. So I'd give Venom a B minus. I give this a C plus, and not just C because C, but yeah, it's fine. It's not great. It's not horrible, but yeah, C plus for me. Colin, your final thoughts and grades, sir.
Yeah, I think you could have fun with this movie if you're really just into the CGI ridiculousness of it. But as far as the story plays out, I really, I didn't feel super engaged in it. I thought it kind of strung along. It was just, he was searching for this trident for so long. It was just him like, let's put him in this new ridiculous situation. Then he's in this new part of the ocean. It was just like too much for me. I was bored at times, even when there was a ton of action on the screen, because it was just all, made on a computer, and it looked really pretty. Whoever making these are very talented computer artists. But I mean, it's just, compared to like a Mission Impossible that came out this year, where you have a fight scene in the bathroom that happened in that movie, where it's all real and choreographed and things are actually happening. I don't know. That's just more my style for a movie I'm looking for. So yeah, I wasn't super into this. I like the main dude that's playing Aquabro. That guy's super chill. But yeah, this movie's a C. It's not that great. Venom was better. I agree with that. I think Justice League was better as well. I agree too. I enjoyed Justice League better. I thought, So yeah, it's a C for me.
That's fair, man. And watch, we'll still. And C's not even bad. I think if you I got my nice home theater set up. I'll tell you right now. I'll buy this at some point. It won't be a first day thing. It'll be Black Friday. Aquaman on sale for $10. Okay, fine. Why not? But yeah, it's fine. I will say the fact this has made more money than Wonder Woman makes me really sad, because I think Wonder Woman is a way better film. I just really, people are just whatever. I don't understand.
It is crazy how much money it's making. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's cleaning up, man. So like I said, here's to hoping the sequel's better, because I like I said, if you're a nerd and you haven't read the new 52 on Aquaman, I really think you should, because there's a lot of great shit in there. And Jeff Johns, man, he knows how to write Aquaman. The fact that he helped on the story on this, I gotta admit, made me go, oh, Jeff, come on, man. This is based on your source material. Why isn't this better? But, whatever. People are liking this. The thing is, you could like something way worse. If someone was like, I like, Aquaman, I wouldn't be upset enough to argue with them. You know what I mean? But if someone was like, oh, I love, Transformers 4, I'd be like, you're a fucking fool. So, it's fine.
This movie kind of dragged on for me at times, like a Transformers movie, though. Like when it was
really?
The nauseating CGI epic battles. I don't know. It was just like, okay, can we just move along? Who's gonna win?
Interesting.
Yeah, that was at points, but yeah. But don't get me wrong, Transformers is always worse.
Yeah, no, exactly. But guys, what did you think about Aquaman? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music at The Real Pineapple. Go ahead and give us a 5-star rating, hopefully. Let us know what you think about the podcast. Let us know what you want us to review. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipes, but if there's something you guys want us to really talk about, please let us know. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Colin on Twitter at
The Real O'Neill.
And yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. Scott, we will have Scott on next month for our best and worst of. We miss you, Scott. And you can follow him on Twitter at Nearman1. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this weekend for that new Kevin Hart movie that everyone's totally gonna go see because everyone loves Kevin Hart right now. We'll have a review up as well for Vice, because I've been wanting to talk about Vice. and we'll have a review up as well for Hearts Beat Loud, which I have the soundtrack download of. I haven't watched the movie yet. It's the first thing I'm doing Friday night when I get home, but we'll have a review up for that as well. Guys, thank you so much for listening. You guys take care.
Love you, Scott.